Hey everyone, this is Stephanie O'Brien at Coach Client Connection, and today I'm joined by Jennie Hays. We're going to be talking about how trauma can really slow down your business, your life, can derail it, can cause you to self-sabotage, and can make so many things that could have been so easy so much harder. So, Jenny's going to be sharing about a modality that can help you to heal and recover a lot faster than you otherwise would have. So you can hit the ground running, work with, build your business and life at full speed, and have things have the same amount of effort, get so much better results. So thank you very much for joining me, Jenny.
Hi, Stephanie. I'm so happy to be here and I love talking about this. So this should be fun.
Yeah, I'd love to learn more about brain spotting and share some more about with the audience. So how does the difference between brain spotting and all these other trauma healing modalities that they've probably heard about?
So one of the really cool things that's been happening in the last 20 years or so is that we are getting more trauma healing modalities. A lot of it has started from veterans, where they were like, what do we do with these people that are coming back and they're broken inside, it feels like, right? And so they've tried things like exposure therapy, which was really hard on them because they would have to relive traumas over and over and over again. And then they started to introduce what we call somatic techniques, which are mind body. And we're finding that when we involve the body and not just the mind, that we're making leaps and bounds. And brain spotting is one of the newer somatic modalities. They're using a technique called EMDR right now, which they consider the gold standard for trauma, which works by moving your eyes a specific way, and it connects the two halves of the brain, allowing the brain to communicate better. And brain spotting takes it one step further. Now we use the word trauma, or we used to use the word trauma for those big things that, oh my gosh, you were in a horrible wreck and now you can't drive. You were overseas in the war and now every time a car backfires, you hit the ground. Things that were major. And what we're learning as we're developing all of these techniques is that trauma actually can be as small as, well, when I was a kid, my dad told my mom that you have to work hard for money, and I overheard it, and now I think I can't make money because I have to work hard for it, so I can't charge for it. Or, for me personally, I was like 11 years old. I was sitting in the back seat of our car and I was singing with the radio, top of my lungs. And my dad said, "We don't need a concert in here." And so to me, it meant shut your mouth. You're not there to be heard. Be quiet. And this was a little girl who wanted to be a singer.
Hmm.
And so those traumas are the traumas that I really I love going in and completing. I say complete them, but I love clearing them. And I love it even more when they're affecting our business.
Yeah, and it's I think a really good point you bring up that so many things, whether you call them traumas, whether you call them limiting beliefs, so many of these things that shape our identities, our perception of whether we're wanted, what parts of us are wanted, what it takes to succeed, what
Mhm.
success even looks like. So much of this is shaped by those little incidents that you may or may not even really consciously remember, but you learn from them. Kids are in such rapid learning mode and don't have the filters that adults do. So we get a piece of feedback and we can just run with it way farther than the person giving it ever intended.
Ever met, yeah, when I mentioned that story to my dad many years later, he was like, "I don't even remember that." And it's like, that's a pivotal piece of my childhood. But then, yeah, you're right. There's a lot of these little things so that happen and we don't have a memory to go with it, but they become that limiting belief. That limiting belief that I can't be seen, I'm not good enough, I need this, I should be doing this. Should is a big one.
Shooting all over yourself.
Shoulding all over yourself, yes. Um, but it's those things that we know we want to do something and we just can't do it because of the factor. I don't even know how I would spell that, but it's I'm looking at the captions to see how it is spelled.
UG phlegm.
Yeah, phlegm. And I spent so many years there myself, which is why when I found brain spotting, it was like, what the heck? I could have done this. I mean, I spent 5 years
Mm.
spinning in circles from limiting beliefs, old little traumas that I had no idea, blaming everything else in the world because we do that too. And it took 1 hour to change my world.
Oh, wow.
So we're
That's
not even
fast.
talking about months of therapy. We're talking about an hour with this technique.
So, you probably, for those of you who've seen the movie Inside Out, there's this moment where yeah, she accidentally dumps two boxes. You don't know all these beliefs and all these facts and opinions look so much alike. How do you work with people who, how do people identify what is a limiting belief or a story you're telling yourself versus what's just plain a fact? How do you help people determine that?
The amazing thing is that the body and the brain do that for me. I don't have to do that. When people come in, they come with all those balls mixed up. And we don't even think they're mixed up. And the worst part is that our brain actually intentionally mixes those balls up in an attempt to protect us. Your brain, that's its only job, is to keep you alive, and it will lie to you all day long to do that. But your body knows better. And so I often tell people, you know that there is a limiting belief or an underlying trauma that you haven't identified when you think something to yourself. You hear that voice in your head that says something, or you're going to do something, and your body just shuts down and says, not doing it. So your brain lies to you, but your body is the lie detector.
Mm.
And
It's
so
interesting.
yeah, what we do in brain spotting is we allow them to talk to each other in a new and unique way. And then the person on the other side of the screen, because I do 99% of it virtual, their brain and body put it together and they figure out, oh, this was the lie and this is my truth.
So if somebody is maybe carrying some of these traumas that they don't realize it, like what are some of the ways people can tell I'm carrying traumas or false beliefs or etc. that I need to get rid of in order to truly live freely, to have the success I need to not be held back? And how do people spot that they need brain spotting?
So I like to identify those as blocks, especially in the business world. When you know you need to do something, like marketing is a big one. I know I
Mm.
need to make that video, but I procrastinate. I'll do it tomorrow. Well, I'll do it next Friday. Or, but everything needs to be perfect and my hair has to be perfect, my makeup, my everything needs to be perfect. I go so far, I've got to edit everything, and it takes me 3 months to do one video, and so I just don't do it because it takes too long. Or the thought of it just scares me so much that it's like, you want me to do what? Or maybe you're like, I can't even decide what video to make. I don't know how to make the decision. Should I do this, or this? Basically, it's anything that delays what you're doing. Because if you didn't have something blocking you, you'd say, oh, I need to make a video and do it. Like most people go to the bathroom, you know, oh, I need to go to the bathroom. I'm going to go do that. We don't sit there and go, but my hair has to be perfect before I go in there. Or, maybe we finish what we're doing, but then we go, and we don't do that with these things. There's always something there. I identified a block. I didn't need to brain spot it. I just had to identify it. I work with people all the time getting their website up, all the time. It took me 18 months to do mine because it was like, oh, I'll just do it. I don't have time to do it today. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. And then one day I was sitting there thinking, why haven't I done this? I was like, oh, because I keep putting it off because I'm afraid once I put it out there, people are going to see who I am. I'm like, people see who I am anyway. Get over it and do it. If you can do that, beautiful. But you can't do that for everything.
Yeah, that reminds me of an article I read. I think it was titled "There's No Such Thing as Laziness." You see some posts sometimes saying, "Oh, if you haven't done it yet, you don't care enough about it." No, As this article was explaining, people procrastinate more on the things that really, really matter to them because there are stakes. There are such high stakes, and they don't want to get it right, and they're afraid of failing, and they're afraid of
Mhm.
not doing it right or getting overwhelmed.
Yeah, because their brain is saying, if you don't do it, there's no risk of failure. If I can keep you busy, if I can keep you distracted, if I can keep you in the I don't knows, then we'll never get hurt. And your brain doesn't understand that the risk of loss like your gut understands it, right? Your brain can put the numbers together, but it just goes, yeah, but if I put that up there, Susie down the road is going to see it and she's going to laugh at me.
Or, of course, the times we might be tempted to kind of put a half effort in so that there's that little defense mechanism. Oh, but that wasn't my real effort they were
Mm-hmm.
rejecting. That wasn't my best they were rejecting. And yeah, we can't necessarily put our 100% into every single thing because, there's just not enough hours in the day. You don't have to pour over every little thing to make it
Yeah,
perfect. But there's also that going too far into, I'm just going to half ass this so I don't have to feel like my real effort was rejected.
right. And that's a true concern. But let me tell you something wonderful for those people who are like, half-ass is the best I can do right now. In the age of AI, what we're finding in marketing is that the messy hair, the getting out of the shower and you have the robe on and your makeup's not done, the person that says and ah and stumbles over their words, people are attracted to that because there's so much out there that is perfect. We need your imperfection to know that you're human. But like you said, you can go the opposite way of, let me just throw something up there. But I'm kind of a fan of that. Throw something up there because the more you do that, the less it bothers you and the more your brain goes, oh, well, nobody said anything about that. Nobody was rude. Nobody was mean. I can do that again. I can do that again. And it'll actually allow you to move forward.
So I guess it really, needs to check in with themselves. Am I doing it kind of like I not pursuing perfection because I think my imperfection is good enough, or because I fear my perfection won't be good enough?
Yeah. Well, so what I find is that the people that are afraid to do it because their perfection is not good enough is that they're just not doing it, or they're doing it, but they never get it finalized. It's like the client I have that she actually worked with another coach for 2 years, and all she was trying to do was get a directory listing. I mean, we're talking about 3 paragraphs,
Wow.
but she couldn't do it, and she kept trying to reformat it and do all of these things. And so we worked together, and she had that directory listing up that day because she was putting it off because it had to be perfect because she was hiding imperfection. Now that's an extreme case, but that's the reality of it is we hide imperfection. And then when I finally, when we did the work and she just put it up there, when she had permission to put it up there raw and know that she could fix it, she could touch it as many times as she wanted to, as long as it was up there, it was like, oh, I can do this. My body is letting me do this now.
Yeah, and I think it could also be good to put out those imperfect things just for the experience of you were saying earlier, the experience of, oh, it wasn't flawless and nothing blew up. Like the first time I hosted a 3-day challenge, part of my script on right there on my slides was, hey, anybody say this in the chat, or put this in the chat. Well, you know what? I couldn't check the chat. The whole Zoom interface just disappeared. And I'm
Of
searching and
course.
searching. I spent the whole first day session not knowing where the chat was. The halfway through the second day session, I found out the issue was I have two monitors. One of them was off, and Zoom, in its infinite wisdom, took the entire interface, removed it from the monitor I was using, and put it up on the other monitor that was off. And you know what? When I found that out, like I'd been honest through the process, saying, hey guys, the whole interface is gone. I don't know why. Zoom's never done this before, but hey, I'm gonna do my best for you anyway. People were very supportive, they were
Yeah.
understanding, and I finally found this stupid missing thing. There was a little celebration that was like our shared victory.
Yes, because you were real. You were
And
who you really are, and you weren't afraid of it. Yeah, my very first challenge I ran, I had to invite friends because nobody showed up. And I'm honest about that because it was like, you know what? I still did it. I still showed up. I did the thing. And the next time I had 5 people show up. And then the next time I had 8 people show up. And it continued to grow until I switched niches. But it was like, as long as I was doing the thing, people will respond. It's just you got to do the thing. And that's where people get stuck. And that's where brain spotting comes in.
Oh yeah, and if somebody wanted to, learn more about brain spotting or explore whether it's something they wanted to have done for themselves or something they wanted to learn and add to their own practice, what would there be their first steps then?
Well, I would love to talk to him about it. I'm not a salesy kind of person. I'm a let's talk and see if you need brain spotting or if you want to learn. And I'm happy to share my sources where I learned it. It's an amazing tool. There's only about, I'd say probably 1,600 of us in the world right now. So it's a potential for growth for people. Um, and it's insanely powerful. So yeah, if you want to learn how to do it, let's talk and I'll share all my secrets. And if you want to have it done, let's talk and let's get you on the schedule because I wasted 5 years. And I can't say I wasted. I mean, I learned a frickload during that time, but where
It
would
could
I
have been
be
easier.
now? Yeah, where would I
It's
be now?
like that meme of the futuristic city of society if.
hmm Yeah, society if. I certainly wouldn't be rebuilding everything with a new niche. Well, I might be in the new niche, but I mean, I wouldn't be at year one now. I'd be much further along.
Yeah, it's the amount of effort we can spend struggling to do something that could have been easy, or the time we spend procrastinating on a task that takes 10 minutes. How many of us have done
I
that?
know. Oh, I know. I know. It's, yeah. But I will say the byproduct of brain spotting. Now, I don't brain spot every little task because that would just be ridiculous, right? But because I've done so much brain spotting now between my training and then working with other people, when that procrastination starts to come up, I can identify now, is this just something I just need to know how to get started? Is it something that I need my husband to body double? Or do I really need to go and get this brain spotted?
And one other tip I find is sometimes useful for those procrastination things is to put the prerequisite tasks in the calendar. Like I was having an issue with videos. I'd go to do a video, but I don't know what I'm going to talk about, or I don't have the right lighting or environment, etc. So I put those prerequisite tasks as their own separate task beforehand. In this time window, I will figure out what I'm going to say. I'm going to fix my hair. I'm going to clean up the room. I'm going to do all these things that would otherwise eat up the time I intended to spend recording.
Yes, very smart. Breaking things down into the smallest possible. A side tip, ChatGPT can help you do that. So for any AI heads out there like myself, you can set up a project that's a personal assistant and tell it, hey, I'm gonna greet you in the morning. And when I greet you in the morning, you're going to ask me what my top 3 goals for the day are. And then you'll ask me any appointments I have and the mandatory amount of time. You know that it takes me X amount of time for each one of these things. And then I'll say what's next, and you're going to give me the next small step. So you don't come in here and say, redo your web page. It's going to be, okay, pull up your web page and copy it into Word so that way you can start tweaking.
Oh yeah, breaking it down like that is so important. If it's just work
So,
on your website, that is this huge amorphous blob of work. If you
mhm.
break it down into steps, heck, even breaking it down into steps, that can be another item you put in your calendar as its own separate task. Step one, break the rest down into steps.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm not good about that piece, which is why I like relying on the AI to do it because I've actually been using Chat GPT. I was in the very initial thing where I was hoping that they would let me into the beta. And so I'm very good friends with Chat.
So yeah, and that's probably another thing you could teach people if they want to talk to you.
Yes, I the simple ways to use it for business. Oh my gosh. Yeah, if they want to come play with that, I love sharing that too. That's so much fun.
Awesome. Well, so those of you watching, if you want to talk with Jennie about ChatGPT, about brain spotting, about any of this, The contact info is going to be in the show notes. So whether if you're watching it on YouTube, it'll be in the description. If you're watching on my blog, it'll be in the blog post. If social media, it'll be with the post. So wherever you happen to be watching this, it'll be with the show notes.
Awesome. And then if you do come over to my site, you'll see a nice blog that'll bring you right back to Stephanie's stuff because that's how we help each other grow, right? As we promote each other.
Absolutely. So we're getting close to the end of our time together. We're going to wrap it up here. So any final thoughts, any especially juicy tips you want to share before we wrap up?
So something that you can use now going forward to keep from creating these things that get you stuck in the future is when something happens, especially if it's overwhelming at the moment, if you can in the moment, feel the feelings. We are taught to push those feelings down and ignore them. If you can't feel them in the moment, make yourself 5-10 minutes later in the day when you're by yourself and feel the feelings. Because what it is it's leftover feelings, leftover memories that don't get finished, don't process the way they should. And it creates these landmines that cause you to stumble. So if you go on stage and it sucks, if you don't want to be terrified next time you go on stage, give yourself a few minutes, feel it, cry it, scream it out, whatever. Allow the emotion out of your body, and your brain will finish the memory, and it's much less likely to stop you next time you go to do it.
That is a fantastic tip. I like to compare emotions to messengers, and they are very insistent messengers. And
They
if you don't
are.
let them in the front door, they will like put on a disguise and come in the back door, and their message will be more garbled, and you'll have a harder time parsing it, but they will communicate it.
They will, and they will stop you in your tracks. They will keep you from success.
Thank you so much for all the amazing tips you just shared. And those of you watching, I hope you'll take some time to contact Jennie and get in touch with her, learn about AI or brain spotting, whichever is most necessary for you. Learn how to get past that frustrating procrastination that makes you take 2 or 3 years to do something that could have taken 10 minutes. So thank you again for joining me, Jennie, and thank you to everyone else who joined. I hope you all have an amazing day.